What's good, Waging World? It's your boy, 5 Star in Vegas, broadcasting live as always from beautiful Summerlin, Nevada, at my home. We got Spread on location. We really appreciate him joining us today, man. He's closing on his new place, and he still took time to join you guys. He's always a professional and always here for you guys in the Waging World, the only Sacramento Kings fan that I know. What's good, Spread Star?
Man, we got a lot to talk about today. If it was a normal week, we might have just taken it off. But I'm real busy. I'm broadcasting from my car today. Just too much going on in the sporting world, 5 Star. First of all, I've been so busy, we haven't had that much time to talk. So I'm hearing a lot of these thoughts from you the first time. But I know I'm reading the comments, guys, and we appreciate all the comments. I think there's a lot of people out there who are watching, subscribe, liking the video that want to hear what we have to say too. So we just had to do a show today.
We definitely had to do a show. A lot going on in the sporting world. Before we get to the trade that stopped the whole world and made X come back alive, it was like Twitter 2012 again after that trade. First, real quick, this is a gambling show. Pat Hoiberg, Major League Baseball umpire, sharing his sports betting account. Why do you even have a sports betting account, umpire, first of all? He shared his account with professional poker players and a friend who bet on baseball, so they couldn't blame Hoiberg for actually betting on the sport or fixing games, but they believe he did manipulate some games while he was there. We know the umpire can definitely control if the game goes over or under. And after a lengthy appeals process, man, they ended up firing him. So we have our first victim in MLB baseball, is umpire Pat Hoiberg. And Spread, we talk about this all the time. It's only going to be more and more of this stuff happening, man. It's only going to be more and more of this stuff happening.
And my contention would be, it's probably been happening the whole time, but with legalization and now the prevalence of the internet and how much we're tracked, everybody knows where I'm at right now. I'm in a parking lot, right? And everybody knows they can check my phone, check where I'm logged in. Everybody knows what everybody's doing. I think this stuff's been going on forever, but now it's all coming to light. So, am I surprised? Not really, to be honest. I'll bet you in the 60s, this was rampant.
Yeah, definitely.
Before you could track it.
Yeah. And remember, we talked about that on the show, Spread, about this one company that's over that, and that's their main thing that they said that they used in order to prevent this stuff from happening was that location. They were able to locate people and see where they at and where they were using the devices. So the first scandal was the second scandal because for some reason the Shohei Ohtani situation got swept under the rug, but they win the World Series, so all's well that ends well, and Major League Baseball ends up not taking a huge hit if we would have found out that Shohei Ohtani was in sports. Also, a federal investigation now about Jonte Porter has expanded to his boy Terry Rozier. I didn't know they were real tight, and supposedly not Terry Rozier is caught up in this betting stuff. And also 3 programs, North Carolina A&T, Mississippi Valley State, and Eastern Michigan are all connected. All 2 HBCU schools, another school that's a mid-major in the MAC in Eastern Michigan, schools where kids aren't getting NIL. That's one good thing about NIL. I'm thinking that in these major programs, we're going to see less of this because what kid is stupid enough if you're making $4 million a year to play college football to go make a bet? I hope they're not that dumb, but we've saw it already with the Iowa State and Iowa programs with all those kids that end up getting caught gambling. This just is rampant, man. As you said, Spread, it's going to only get worse. Let's get straight to this Luka trade, though, man. That's the thing that's shocked the whole world. Where were you when you found out that Luka Doncic was about to go to your arch nemesis, Los Angeles Lakers?
Man, I had so much to do on that Sunday, and I was getting ready to go to bed, and I ended up screwing around on Twitter and texting with my friends for another 2 hours. So, I'm old. I was at home. I kind of settled in for the night.
My initial reaction, you know how I am. I like to play devil's advocate when it comes to national media because people are going to always overreact and take it a little too far. And a lot of guys were acting like Luka was, the next coming of Christ or something. And don't get me wrong, I respect Luka. You know how much we love him on this show. He's one of my favorite players in all the NBA. He doesn't play a lot of defense, but offensively, he's a wizard. Does so much other things like rebound, assist, leadership, things like that. Luka's just a solid guy, man, and I just like him as a person as well. So I'm always rooting for him to do well. But I was just so appalled by how so many Mavs fans were acting like, he was untradeable. And at first I was like, man, why all these people into Luka like this? And I started doing a little research. And like, damn, he has been there 7 years. I'm like, man, these guys went from kind of sucking to last year they just went to the title. And what's the most memorable thing? We as sports bettors spread remember that Kyrie was really effective. PJ Washington was really good. Kid did a really good job of putting the right lineups out there and things. But you know what fans are going to remember? They're going to remember that step back three and those isolation plays that Luka made that sealed those games against Timberwolves that got them to the finals. They're also going to remember how Kyrie Irving kind of faded in the finals and Luka was the guy. Then I saw Luka get off the plane. I'm reading all the stuff. They're like, oh, well, Nico Harrison, he only traded him because he was 270 pounds. I see Luka get off the plane. He's in the best shape of his life. I'm like, Luka looks great. So that's when I start to pivot. As new information comes from me, I always pivot. No, I'm back. I'm on Luka's side on this trade, man. They said the kid just had built a $15 million house. They said he was in tears. And when I heard his dad talking, that was sincere. His dad was ticked off. He got blindsided on this, and that made me do some research. And what Dallas did on this one was pretty much a mutiny happened spread. This was a bigger situation than we all know about. What are your thoughts on, first of all, the Luka trade? How big is it as far as in NBA history? And two, did Dallas get back anything with AD? Do you think that the Mavericks can have some success this year?
Yeah, definitely the biggest trade in NBA history. And you know me, I'm not one for hyperbole. I get really mad that we erase these greats. I think we've talked about it before. The fact that Dr. J isn't in people's top 10s just disgusts me, the way that guy changes the game. The fact that Joe Montana isn't talked about in the greatest of all time quarterback conversations because his career was cut short because quarterbacks weren't protected back then. And I'm sure there's players that I didn't see, like Fran Tarkenton and Bart Starr, right, that could be in these conversations too that we've forgotten about. So I hate when we erase sports history. But simply put, this is the biggest trade in NBA history. We've never seen an MVP candidate like this go before for arguably the best defender in the NBA, right? So two top 10 players, maybe you put AD at 11, right? But let's just put him top 10 for the sake of this conversation. Swap before. And I don't think that, first of all, if they're the same age, I don't think people would care at all. I think the big problem that people are having is you trade a 31-year-old for a 25-year-old. And you don't get a ton of picks in return. I mean, KD got 8 picks. Rudy Gobert got 4 first-round picks. Mikal Bridges got 4 first-round picks. So this was just amazing, the lack of return. The fact they didn't shop him around. There should have been a bidding war. I mean, Milwaukee might have sent Giannis. It's absolutely insane what is going on. And I'm for one, am just as shocked. And I think that, I mean, I don't know. Is it good for the league or is it bad for the league? On one hand, half the fans in the league are Lakers fans, right?
Yeah.
I mean, arena. Let's say the Lakers are playing the Pacers. There's a bunch of Lakers jerseys in there. When they play the Bucks, there's a bunch of Lakers jersey in there, right? So yes, they are the most popular team, but you see the backlash from these Mavs fans.
Yeah.
I really wonder how much this really hurts. I know that in Sacramento, it's never been the same. I know we rallied to save the team, but still, I mean, we get 11,000 in the Golden One Center, and it's not like it's a bad team. I don't think that people in Sacramento believe that we could ever be a championship team. I wonder how this fan base of Dallas reacts, especially because it feels like they're all in this year. If they get a title this year, they can kind of get away with it, right?
Yeah.
Hey, Luka took us to the finals, couldn't get it done. AD goes to the finals, they win a title, you kind of get away with it. But if you don't win a title, man, I think this is going to be tough for the fan base to overcome here. Overall, it just feels like really bad management. The fact that other people weren't involved and the lack of return as far as draft picks really was shocking to me. So They're all in. AD's got to win a title, or he's going to go down as the worst GM ever.
And Nico Harrison is falling on his sword for this. He's taking the fall, but this is much bigger than what's been letting on. You know, Five Star had to go make his calls and do his investigating. And man, this is deep spread. And only the way in the world is exclusively going to have this information because no one else is going to have the heart to talk about it for one, and two, the access to the information. Nico Harrison, as we know, is a big Nike guy. He knows everybody, man. Him and Rob Pelinka have been friends for years, right? Because agent brings some guys to Nike, right? Nico was calling all the shots and for getting all the big dogs to come to Nike. He was over Anthony Davis's career, Kyrie Irving when he was with Nike, everybody, right? Mark Cuban gives him a shot and makes him one of the only minority GMs in the league and hires him in 2021. Nico Harrison comes in, does a really good job, re-signs Luka, does all these great things, right? Make these trades. Does a really good job because, of, as I said, he really is hands-on with a lot of players and is really respected amongst the players. He brings in Michael Finley to be his assistant. Longtime Maverick, also a friend of his from Nike, from when he was an athlete. 2023, Mark Cuban decides we all know Cuban wants to get into gambling. He wants to be one of the first guys that brings sports betting to Dallas, to the Dallas Fort Worth area, and to Texas. He decides to sell the majority of the company, his stake, to the DeMont and Allison family. Allison is Miriam Allison. She owns the Sands Corporation. Her husband passed not too long ago, and he was a big wig out here, one of the biggest dudes in all of Vegas. Sheldon Adelson. If you get a chance, look up Sheldon Adelson, Adelson. Really powerful man in Las Vegas. Sands Corporation, Sands Casinos. Now the family owns the Venetian, and they also own the Palazzo, and they also own the Sands Convention Center out here. So their whole thing, and she's made no bones about it, his widow who's running everything, Miss Allison, said she wants to be the first company, Sands, to get into gambling in Texas. She pumped more than $2 million last year into the political action committee called Texas Sands, which donated lavishly to state legislators, and they also paid for all the lobbyists to try to push gambling in Texas. She also gave an additional $1 million separately to Republican Governor Greg Abbott to try to get him on with the gambling. Like, come on, we're trying to get this gambling going with Dallas. It fell through. A lot of staunch pushback in Texas. You know, Bible Belt, they don't want gambling there. People are more comfortable going to Louisiana and dealing with it. They don't want it in Texas. Okay, fast forward 2023. Now, she named her son-in-law, Patrick Dumont, as the governor, but the assistant governor was supposed to be Mark Cuban. And if you go look back in 23, when Cuban sold his portion, he said, I'm over all basketball operations. The Dumont and the Adelson family are realtors. They know they're about casinos and real estate. They don't know anything about basketball. So all basketball decisions will be made by me. This was December 2023. Luka just got traded in 2025. What did Mark Cuban just say, spread? He knew nothing about it, right? But he's supposed to be all the way over basketball operations. What I figured out is Nico Harrison became buddy-buddy with Patrick Dumont. Patrick Dumont extended him in 2023. Now they're friends. You can see their relationship has grown by how Harrison is talking about Dumont. His vision along with his efforts on behalf of our players and staff have propelled our team to 2 playoff appearances. You don't hear anything about Cuban. That's Dumont talking about Harrison. Then on the other side, Harrison talking about Dumont. I'm incredibly grateful to Patrick and the entire Dumont and Allison family for their continued trust and confidence in me. Okay? Mark Cuban, seems like what happened is he sold his majority share. The owners, the new owners, Dumont and Allison, have made a bond with Nico Harrison and Jason Kidd, more Nico Harrison than anything. and they made this move without Cuban. It pretty much was a mutiny. They did this without Cuban even knowing what was going on. But Cuban was supposed to run basketball, but what we're seeing now, Nico Harrison is running basketball, and he's taking direct orders from the top. These people are business people. They're about the bottom line. They probably did their numbers, said we just spent all this money buying this team. We don't know if they took a loss last year overall or what, but we know this. Their companies in Vegas aren't doing that good. The Venetian and Palazzo. They also have casinos in Singapore and Macau. They weren't going to pay all of that money to Luka. So what they have a plan with Nico Harrison is doing is they're either going to win the championship this year. That's why they got AD. Use the window that Kyrie is signed through the max that he did over there. He's very tight with Nico spread. So it's going to be the Kyrie and AD show, who are both buddy with Jason Kidd. I talk about innate bias all the time. Luka was a victim of innate bias. The brothers got together and went against him because they had the backing of the owner. Michael Finley already was messing with Luka. You seen how rude that was, taking the beer from him last year when he's celebrating after about to go to the finals. The man is standing with his dad, and you're gonna go take a beer from him. I thought that was hella disrespectful. Unless Luka behind the scenes is an alcoholic, what the hell are you doing? If you're saying this on weight management, man, what are you doing? They just won the Western Conference Finals. That was rude. That was uncalled for. But that let me know how Michael Finley and those guys were dealing with Luka, man. We talked off air about, come on, man, we're going to be real about this. Just like there's some areas in life where white guys are in control, in the NBA, a lot of black dudes run stuff, bro. And in Dallas, I'm sure Nico, Kyrie, Jason Kidd, Michael Finley, they weren't feeling how Luka, as a white boy, was able to come in there and do whatever he wanted to do, but he's not playing defense. He's not hustling their opinion. So they started, I think they teamed up against him, spread. And it was wrong because Luka's a hell of a player, man, as a good dude. So it was a bunch of stuff that went on behind the scenes that got Luke out of there and took Cuban's power. And Cuban gave away his power when he sold it to these guys who are sharks, man. You're dealing with the Sands family, man. This family owns the Sands, has been in Las Vegas making moves forever. They're not about basketball, and this was a non-basketball move. It looks like it, they made it look like it, appear like it was, but they're thinking down the road spread. And you know what they're going to do? They're going to try to win with Kyrie and AD, but if it doesn't win a championship within this 2-3 window, the Mavs are going to bottom out, and it's going to work perfectly for the Allison because now the fans are going to turn against them. And if during that period they're not able to start a casino in Dallas like they want to, guess what they're going to do, spread? They're going to move the Mavericks to Vegas and get rich. That's what this is all about. It's a bigger plan that the new owner and mainly the governor, Patrick Dumont, came up with. He's got Nico Harrison on his side. Nico Harrison was able to pull Jason Kidd in on it. And Michael Finley, of course, was with it because we saw by the beer situation how he thinks of Luka. They didn't want to pay him the Supermax. And their plan is we're going to either get gambling here and bottom out and be just one of the worst teams in the league and make our money off the gambling. Or our other scenario is if, guess what? The fans are pissed off and we can't get gambling here. We'll just move the team because now we're not selling out because no one wants to come because 1, we failed. 2, we made the worst trade ever. 3, beloved Luka is gone. So just an evil plan put together. And I guarantee you the reason the Lakers are the one who got Luka is 1, Nico was looking out for Luka, wanted to put him somewhere where he know that he would still have a great career, make money and do well. But you also know he has to have a great relationship with the Lakers organization with him, a guy that used to be at Nike and Kobe being over there so long. And Nico and Kobe were really tight. So believe me, some off the book stuff was done with the Lakers. Just shady dealing spread.
Yeah, man. I mean, I can't disagree with a lot of what you said, except for I just want to point out, okay, I know you love Vegas and I know you're Mr. Vegas, but if you move from Dallas to Vegas, you're stupid.
You think so?
Dallas is like the 4th biggest market in the United States.
But Vegas is growing.
Dallas is huge.
But
they're they
he's
I think
hungry for basketball.
their plan is to just try and get those casinos built in Dallas.
Yeah.
I think that's the whole plan.
Somebody
I
come to
I
Vegas.
actually think they just screwed up. I think that Luka is tough to deal with, man. You got to remember this guy's been a star since he's been like 12,
Right.
right?
Right.
Probably not the hardest worker, and we've everyone who's played basketball, man. You don't have to even been on a real team. If you play pickup with a guy who's just jacking up shots, even if they're going in, but just stands there on defense.
That's where Jason Kidd and
Wow.
Nico Harrison came in, spread, because
Yeah,
now
and
they have reasoning.
I don't even need disagree. Like, hey, you could trade the guy. I just think the amount of return was just terrible. You should have got Anthony
That's where the
Davis and
shade
4
comes
first
at,
round
spread.
pick.
That's where the shade we've seen Nico Harrison
Yeah,
make some
because
of
he
the
didn't
best
even.
moves.
You don't think that if he called Oklahoma City, he could have got 10 first round picks? You don't think he could have got 8
It's not
first round
about
picks in
that.
Houston?
It's bigger than this, man. That's what I'm telling you. This was a big, lot of moving, powerful parts. Luka found out at the last minute, but it ended up where it still is going to work out for him because Nico Harrison was at least kind enough to say, man, we jobbing this kid. We're about to steal this money from him. We're about to ship him out. And he just bought a $15 million house here. The fans love him. Let's at least send him somewhere where we know that he's going to be a superstar. So I think that his relationship with the Lakers, from being with Kobe and knowing how big of a fan Kobe was of Luka, made him say, "I'm only dealing with the Lakers." And they did some stuff off the books as well. I'm telling you, they
Oh,
did some stuff
it
off the
totally
books.
was. And I think that's a lot of frustration just from, I'm not a Mavericks fan, but it's just like you're giving him again. I mean, the Lakers just get bailed out again.
Yeah. Only time it's ever been stopped was by the late great commissioner David Stern, who was like,
No way he
"Hell
would have
no."
allowed this because he knows.
Like, hell no, y'all gonna give Kobe Chris Paul and get nothing back?
Yeah, because you kill the fan base in New Orleans. You're going to kill the fan base in Dallas. And let's see, AD's got a huge chance. But if they go out in the first, second round, I think there's going to be I think it's going to be pretty hard to sell season tickets in Dallas. I would not want to be the guy trying to make those phone calls.
And that's why I'm telling you, with them, they own so much land. It's a perfect area right by the Sands Convention Center to do basketball. I'm telling you, it's pretty much like how when people see about the devastating stuff that happens, like we have these natural disasters. Like the government always plans ways to still benefit from it. And I think that's how these guys are doing. Like, we're going to shoot for the championship and respect Nico and Jason Kidd's wanting to win the championship and play defense first. We're gonna get AD, but everyone knows AD is old, man, and he's not prime AD anymore. He's still playing well, but we're gonna say he might have another 2-3 years in his prime. Kyrie, same thing, 2-3 years in his prime. So I think their ultimate plan with them being bottom line business people from Vegas is to bottom out this franchise and either, as I said, go all the way with their ass and not spending a lot of money. I kind of compare it to the Rockets situation, how quickly we were able to rebuild. The rebuild all started because Harden did a deal with Fertitta behind the scenes to pretend like he wanted to force himself out of there and get traded because it was an opportunity for him to go get a championship. Him and Fertitta boys. Fertitta was like, man, I can't afford you. I just lost all this money with these restaurants during COVID, man. I can't afford you. Help me out here. I'm gonna get you somewhere where you can win a championship to your boys. Then I'm gonna bring you back. But you can never let them come back. But these are the type of deals that go on that the public will never know about, and you will never know about unless you know the right people and also understand business and how real business is done. And I believe that we're in a similar situation, and we'll see if the Mavs can get a championship within this 2-year window. If not, do they bottom out and try to do like the Rockets did and start over draft picks and just make their money off of stadium sales and hope that during that time gambling is introduced to Texas? Or, I'm telling you, if they bottom out and no one's coming to those games, it's not like the Mavs or a perennially great organization. Until Cuban came in, they were one of those teams that was considered doormats. I would not be surprised. We got 2 teams in Texas already, man. So if they got Wemby in San Antonio, our men is becoming a star in Houston. We also got Sagoon. You also got Jalen Green. All these guys have potential to carry the state. I will not be surprised if we see the Las Vegas Mavericks.
I will be shocked. I don't think you can leave the fourth major media market. I think when Las Vegas gets a team, and it's gonna happen. I think it's
Yeah.
gonna be an expansion team, and
Yeah.
I won't be surprised if LeBron James is a part owner.
Yeah, he's supposed to be on.
That's
That's supposed to be in the works. Yeah, that's quietly been talked about.
it makes more sense. You don't want to leave Dallas.
Yeah, we'll
You don't
see.
leave Dallas.
I don't think
I
they're
mean, I
going to
guess the NFL left LA, so I mean, who knows? But
Yeah, we never know, man. I also compare this trade a lot to like Darren Williams when they traded him from Utah in the middle of the night to New Jersey, and everybody thought he was one of the top point guards. It was out of him and CP3. Remember at that time as the top
yeah.
guys, and
Mm-hmm.
they didn't believe that
And
Darren
I
Williams
would
was going to
argue
stand.
for Williams that very Utah year. I thought he was better.
And I did too. I like Darren Williams all the way back to Illinois. I followed his Illinois team to the Final Four way back then, man. That's one of my earlier days of betting. I love that team that he was on. It was him and Luther Head, and those guys were ballers. And he was at Utah, was a superstar. They traded him in the middle of the night, right before it's time for him to get his max contract the next year. And they said it was because of weight issues and that they didn't trust him to stay healthy. And we see if Dallas made the same type of decision from a basketball point of view, or is it our business? Really interesting topic,
One
and
thing
we'll
about
talk about
Luka though is he's not like Westbrook or De'Aaron Fox where he's using his athleticism.
it.
I mean, he's
Exactly.
already slow.
Right. He
Like
just knows how to get to his
you even
spots.
watch Jokic and say this guy. I mean, obviously it did help when he lost some weight, right? But I mean, that style of game, you don't need the athleticism. You can play later in your career.
It's a lot of wheels turning in this situation because I just saw when Luka got off that plane, he looked like he was ready to go straight to the gym now and play. He did not look out of shape at all. So why has he been sitting? They said, what is it? He got a what was the injury he's been dealing with forever?
Yeah.
Calf, right?
Mm-hmm.
I bet he plays for the Lakers this week.
Hmm.
Watch him play on for the Lakers this week. I guarantee he's going to play this week. All right, man. Let's get to the pass spread. We had a decent week on college basketball.
First one we'll talk about is Indiana, who traveled to take on Purdue. Purdue laid 12.5. I didn't see that one. What happened there?
Bad handicap on my part. The market flipped on us, man. And when the market flips on these type of numbers, you're finished, man. It was too much money on Purdue and Indiana. Basketball wise, I always matched up with them because Purdue's not a really athletic team this year, man. Some reason painters went back to their style that got them in trouble in the past, and that's being really slow everywhere. They're not athletic enough to keep up with a lot of these teams. And Indiana, on the other hand, is really athletic. Big game from Bello, the transfer that came over from Arizona for Indiana. They keep it close, but Purdue is able to win slow. We don't get the cover on that one, unfortunately. Actually, both the big covers didn't go our way.
All right. Breaking up a little bit here. Hopefully it comes through on the thing. All right. The next one we got here. Yeah. Can you believe Duke just beat North Carolina like that? This used to be the biggest game of the year. And Duke covers the 13.5. What did you see in that one?
Another market play, man. It's all about the market, man. If the market shifts, Vegas doesn't lose. Simple as that. We already say all the time on the show, the numbers looks fun. It's probably money, and that definitely looks funny with Duke laying that many points at home. They smacked the hell out of North Carolina. Just disappointing on North Carolina. Like I said, we lose the two big spreads, but we won all the rest of the games.
All right. Well, let's talk about some of the winners then. Florida took on Tennessee. Tennessee laid 2.5. What happened in that one?
On that one, Tennessee came to ball. We already told you on the show on Friday that Tennessee had lost two straight. Veteran team, they're playing a Florida team that's really young, really talented. But besides Will Clayton, all of those guys on that team were kids. And just a great job by Tennessee. Rick Barnes coaches defense. That's what he does. And boy, did they play defense in the second half. We expected a blowout. We got a blowout. Tennessee wins by 20.
Missouri traveled to Mississippi State. What did you see there?
We get the outright victory in this one. As I told you guys, Missouri has been flying under the radar, really well coached, some really good transfers over there. Mississippi State, a little bit overvalued by the books as Missouri is able not only cover but went on the road money line, so we cashed that one as well.
College basketball game to break down. Auburn took on the Old Miss Rebels. What did you see there?
Just another great showing by Auburn. They spurt late and win by 10. Auburn is the best team in college basketball, in my opinion. I'd say the best four teams are Auburn. I'd say University of Houston, Alabama, and it's a battle for that fourth position. It's going to be a couple teams that could fit in there. We can go anywhere from Marquette to maybe Duke. That's what I'm forgetting about. Duke. Yeah, Duke is a really good team, just young. But Auburn, in my opinion, is the best team in college basketball. Most scorers, best big man, best defensive big man as well. They continue to move forward. They continue to get it done. I never worry about betting on Auburn. I know that they're going to come to play all of the time because their program is based on defense first and getting the transition. So we're able to cash that one. Good win by Auburn.
All right, let's move to the present. We got some college basketball tonight. Marquette traveling to take on St. John. -2.5 for the home team. How do you like that one?
This is the two best teams right now in the Big East. A little push maybe from Creighton. Creighton is a pretty good team as well. It's all about Rick Pitino, man. Rick Pitino has done a great job of rebuilding this squad. I don't know if you remember Lou Carnesecca spread. That's a name from the past, right? Back when Mullins was there and stuff. But St. John's was a really good program. Mark Jackson was their point guard. You got to have some gray in your hair to understand that one, to know about them, or you had to have ESPN Classic. But they used to have some great battles, Louis Carnesecca and John Thompson in the Big East, man, and they kind of helped put ESPN on the map. Marquette has been really successful against St. John's. Now they've won six straight against them. You know, Marquette has Shaka Smart over there. They also have one of my favorite players in all of college basketball over there in Cam Jones, man. He's a real baller, man. I think that he's going to be a good pro and going to be a steal for someone in the draft because he has played a lot of basketball. But in this situation here, I think St. John's is due, man. I think that they're a good home team, as I said. I think they've been getting blasted by Marquette so long that they're going to be really, really up for this game. Now they've won, just 9 straight games. At home, they've been unbelievable. They haven't lost a game this year at their arena. I think they come to play, man. Give me St. John's on this one, but with the money line being short at -140, I'll take the money line at -140. Even though I think the 2.5 is in play, I'm definitely going to play St. John's at home.
All right, Vanderbilt heading down to Florida to take on the Gators. Another double-digit spread here. Florida's laying 12.5. How do you see it?
Man, Vanderbilt is flying under the radar, and they're a pretty good team. The main thing I like about them, they got my guy AJ Hawk over there from Michigan State transferred over there. He's a really good player, strong, solid point guard. Might get some run action in the NBA, at least the G League. Played a lot of basketball. He's brought a whole new toughness to that Vanderbilt program. They also have some pretty slick guards over there as well, man. Some guys that can put the ball in the basket. They just got embarrassed at Oklahoma, won the first half, give up 61 points in the second half. So I don't know, man. That Devin McLaughlin, who's their transfer forward, is really good. He can shoot the three. They also have, as I said, AJ Hoggard. Also another kid that I really like a lot that can shoot the ball and put the ball in the basket, and Jason Edwards. They have some really good guard play at Vanderbilt. So it's always hard for me to lay those type of points on the road in a conference, in conference game. But Florida is also coming off a loss as well. And we always say that if the line looks fun, it's usually money. This situation here, man, I think it's going to be one of those situations where either it's a complete blowout and Florida wins by 15 or 20 points, and Vanderbilt doesn't show up, or Vanderbilt wins money line and hits that big plus 400. But for as of now, I'm gonna have to stick to my rules, and that's if the line looks fun, it's probably money. Just too big of a spread in the conference game to not lay it for me because the books obviously see something that Florida can do. So we'll go with Florida on this one on a lean at the minus 11 and a half.
Purdue's heading to Iowa, 7.5 points for the home dog Hawkeyes. How do you like it?
Another in conference game. Purdue, a lot bigger than Iowa. Iowa does have quickness. Both these teams like to score points. The over under is 156 on this one. That's a high number. The last two times these guys played, it went under, but both times Purdue was able to drop 80 points on Iowa. So Iowa just gave up 80 points to Ohio State. They won at home their last game against Penn State, but they had lost to lowly Minnesota. Iowa has not been good as it's been in the past this year. So me, I'll probably play on this one Purdue first half and lay the points just off the fact that Purdue did not play well last week in the first half, and they like to get off on teams early. They've had a pretty easy time at Iowa. Last time that they went there, they won by 13 in the first half. As I said, this isn't your typical Iowa team that we saw when we had the Twins there. One of them actually, plays for the Kings. They were a much better shooting team at the time. Now they're not filling up the basket, and Iowa's always going to be a slower foot and not really a good defensive team. So with this one, I got to roll with Purdue first half on this one. They probably do cover the game, but I'll go just first half minus 3.5.
All right, let's keep it moving here. Kentucky heading to Old Miss. Am I reading this right? Ole Miss is a favorite at home against Kentucky?
Kentucky, way bigger brand, but I've also talked to you before about Ole Miss has the coach. He's one of those guys who's been around and been successful everywhere he went. And Chris Beard, he was a really good coach that won a lot at Texas Tech. That gets him a job at University of Texas. Then he has the scandal that goes on where he gets arrested, and after that, they ended up firing him, and now he's at Ole Miss trying to build that program up. He has some guys that could play over there. Kentucky just coming off an embarrassing loss at home against Arkansas. So, as I said, this is another one with a tricky number. But what I've noticed in the past, especially on the road in college basketball, we just saw it last week with Missouri at Mississippi State. That five and a hook can sometimes get you paid. We're going with Kentucky money line. Kentucky has dominated this series. Kentucky has the better team. They just got to go on the road and get it done. But I think they can. Ole Miss best player Sean Padilla. He's good, but he's not enough to carry the scoring for his team. Mississippi has to win with defense. Without them playing defense, they don't have a chance. I don't know what happened to Dre Davis. He's big for their team. He did not play well last week. He only played 15 minutes. I don't know if he was in foul trouble or what, but he's used to their success. And I didn't see a lot of him last game. I got to do some research to see if he got hurt or was it just foul trouble why he wasn't in the game. But I know one thing. Oh, it was foul trouble. He had 5 personal fouls, so we fouled out. So we had a bad game. He'll probably play better this game. But still, with that said, I just like Kentucky, man. I think Kentucky's going to be ticked off about losing at home to Arkansas and allowing their ex-coach to come in there and take over the whole stadium and leave out of there with a victory. So they just won at Tennessee on the road. They've also beat Mississippi State on the road. I think they show up to play this one. I think Mark Pope has his guys ready to play. So give me Kentucky on this one, plus the 5.5, and also Kentucky money line plus 200.
Michigan State will be in Los Angeles taking on UCLA. UCLA laying 2.5 at home. Still wild to me to see these conference games. However, who do you like here?
Michigan State actually has been in LA now for a week. I was in.
Is that good or bad?
Right. I think that initially it was bad for sure because they did not look like themselves against USC. I was in the book with my OG Webb. It was his birthday. Shout out OG Webb. We were in there kicking it, man, and it was funny. Mateen Cleaves was right behind us. Him and the whole group of
Oh,
Michigan
wow.
State guys. bro. And I felt so bad for them because we had USC, but you know how I am. I'm quiet. I'm not saying anything. I'm sitting. They were dying with every shot because I could tell him and the guys he was with probably had put a lot of money on Michigan State, man, and they lost the first half in the game. I was able to win. Shout out to my guy Doug Castaneda over there. They always take care of me in the Win Sportsbook. Been going there for 15 years, man, and got a lot of love over there. But we were sitting in the book, man, and we were able to cash for USC first half and for the game. USC is a really good team. UCLA is also a good team. But I think with the fact that Michigan State has stayed in LA, they took that L. I think that Izzo has been on their back. He probably let them kick it for the weekend, but on Monday he's probably been on. I think that Michigan State is going to get it done tonight. I think Michigan State is a live dog at plus 135, really low money line for it to be plus 3.5. So give me the points with Michigan State and also Michigan State money line. UCLA is a good team. The problem is UCLA is going to struggle to score against Michigan State and to keep up scoring with Michigan State. UCLA doesn't run a really innovative offense. A lot of one-on-one basketball from them and their point guard. I don't think that they have enough to overcome Michigan State's defense. And as I said, Michigan State have won 13 straight games, loses to USC. I think they're going to be really inspired to get out of LA with at least one win.
All right, 5-star like in Michigan State on the road. All right, 5-star, let's move to the future. Of course, we are going to go in depth with the props this Friday, but we got to give one for the people now, especially because I think this one will move. It's not really that tough a handicap here. I'm talking about going over on the Dallas Goedert reception yards. Since the postseason started, Goddard's gone over his total every single game. He had 70 yards last game. Right now it's sitting, depending on offshore or legal books, 46 and a half, 50 on some of the other books here, depending on whether or not you're offshore or legal. But I think Goddard's going to be a big part of this offense. And Kansas City has struggled against tight ends this year. You know, in the divisional round matchup, Dalton Schultz, who I don't even know is as good as Dallas Goedert, went for 70 yards as well. So the prop that I want to give out now that I say get in now before we give you the rest of them on Friday is Dallas Goedert over his receiving yards.
And I'm going to go to the field goal kickers. You guys know I love to bet kickers. It's a good thing in the playoffs, especially when you have one as good as Harrison Butker. I think he goes over 1.5 field goals. I called it at minus 160. It shot up to minus 180. This guy makes a lot of field goals, and we're going to be in the dome in New Orleans, so he could be drilling them for 60 yards in there. So give me Harrison Butker to go over 1.5 field goals. Also, I'm going to go with on my anytime touchdowns. I know we already took Jalen Hurts at minus 115, but with what happened last time that these guys played in Super Bowl 57, I think that Saquon Barkley will be the focus for the Kansas City defense to stop, and I think Jalen Hurts will be really motivated. So I think that Jalen Hurts is going to end up getting in the end zone twice. It's an unbelievable number if he can score 2 touchdowns at plus 550. That's a really good value bet to me. I just think that he could get that done. 2 quarterback sneaks and we're in there, or 1 scramble and then another tush push, and he gets in there. It's a value play for me. Bet bigger on the 1 touchdown at minus 115, and then throw a little bit on him to score twice at the plus 550s. It's a really good number in that. I like that number a lot. Another one to look at, Patrick Mahomes, over 250 yards passing. I can very much see that. As we know, the Eagles are going to be running the ball a lot. Patrick Mahomes is going to be in a dome. And I have a great stat about Pat in domes that I'm going to drop on you guys on Friday. So just to add to the long list of different props that we've already put into play, we're going with Goddard over receptions for spread. And then I'm going to also add Harrison Butker to go over 1.5 field goals. I'm going to also add Jalen Hurts to score 2 touchdowns because of the value at plus 550, and also the over on Patrick Mahomes passing. I think that he throws the ball and gets it done. The Eagles have been really good at stopping the run this year.
Once again, we got a more in-depth preview coming up Friday, but we just want to give you just a taste right now because I think these numbers will run. These are popular selections, and we won't be the only people that are targeting those props. Let's move to the ball and parlay 5-star. I'm going to start us off because lost in all the trade news, we got a pretty good game tonight, 5-star, taking place in Cleveland. The Cleveland Cavaliers host the Boston Celtics. And, there's two things I like to do when I'm betting the NBA. One of them, and this doesn't apply here, is I like to find scheduling spots where you get a really good team like the Denver Nuggets or the Boston Celtics, and they're 5 and 7 nights, or they're in party cities. And, I think that people might be overlooking this and they're just betting the favorites here. Or I like to look at, hey, you know what? This game's going to have a playoff atmosphere. If you read my content, you'll see I mention playoff atmosphere a lot. We know these guys don't get up for 82 games, but when you're in first and the other team's in second, they usually get up for the game, right? A potential Eastern Conference Finals preview tonight. So let's just think ahead. Let's just say we're right, and this is an Eastern Conference Finals preview. Think about when you're betting the NBA playoffs. A lot of people I know don't even bet the NBA until the playoffs. What are most of the lines? -4, -6, -7 at home. And then they'll flip all the way. That the game 3 edge, it's still there, but the books are onto it, right? You're not getting, these things anymore. Long story short, I think -1 is pretty easy for Cleveland. I think if this was a playoff game, especially if Cleveland was at home, the Cavaliers would be laying 4 or 5. I think because of the fact that Boston is, the defending champions and playing good basketball right now, the Cavaliers are being a little undervalued here. Cleveland 5-1 against the spread in their last 6 against Boston. Playoff-like game, playoff-like atmosphere, playoff-like home court advantage. Give me the Cleveland Cavaliers.
All right, and I'm going to go with a 2-team. We're going to go to Transylvania, the home of the vampires, man, out of Romania, man. They're going to go indoors over there. There's 2 girls that I really like. We're going to put them together. We got Danilovic. She's going against Victoria Tomova. Danilovic has been hot. She's a girl with way too much game for Tomova. Tomova tends to melt in these type of situations, and Danilovic usually is really aggressive and takes advantage of the players that play like Tomova. So give me Danilovic. She's also beaten her head-to-head twice. And then we're going to parlay that with Anastasia Potapova. Potapova is one of those girls who has all the talent in the world, but she's caught up trying to be a model, much like the Strimska. I think she's into modeling and clothes and stuff, and she's staying fit just to look good in her bikini. But when she plays women like Golubic, she always beats them. And my bad, Danilovic just went down to -215. So we're getting Danilovic at -215. We just had a change on my book as the match is tomorrow, so you guys have plenty of time to get it in. So we're going with Danilovic times Potapova. Potapova should get it done. That should be a nice parlay for you. You should pay about +150, guys. Hey man, another week down. We were able to come to you guys a day early today because tomorrow I have an assignment, and as I said, Spread is busy getting things together on this new home purchase. So we really appreciate you, Spread, for coming in today, man. What do you have? Anything for the people before we get out of this, Spread?
Man, I hope I'm back at home on Friday. We'll find out. But hey, it looked like we made it work from the car. So no matter what, we're going to be here for the people. Super Bowl preview coming on Friday. Can't wait.
Yeah, guys, I know I'm a little dark on it today. Right before we did the show, of course, one of my things that hold up my camera broke. So if I'm a little dark in it today, you guys pardon me. We'll have things back together. I know you guys tune in mostly for the information. You guys hit that like button right now if you haven't already. We appreciate you for rocking with the Wagering World. As I said, my guy Spread and myself, we always go out our way to make sure that we can deliver you guys these winners and this sports betting information. It's always us versus the machine. We're going to continue to do this, man, always for the underground and the underdogs. For my guy Spread Astaire, I'm 5-star in Vegas. As always, I dedicate this show to the greatest Houston sports fan that I know, and that's my father, John H. Lindsay. I do this for you, Dad. We will see you guys on Friday. This is the Wagering World.